Hi everybody, I'm John Kanary, and I got an exciting story that I want to share with you. We're going to be doing a program that you'll have available to you, and it's called the Top Performer. Do you know, my whole life I wanted to be a top performer. And at the very early age of 30 years old, I was in sales here in Toronto, Canada. For those of you who don't know where that is, that's about central Canada. And I'll tell you an interesting thing that actually happened. I was working in this company where I was doing very well in selling business equipment. I suddenly arrived at an opportunity where I could actually open up my own little company, and that really excited me and excited Maureen. And we were all ready to go. And I remember the president of that company, he called me in and he said, "John," he said, "I understand you're leaving." And I said, "Yes, sir, I'm leaving." I said, "I've been given an opportunity to become a dealer, a distributor for another company." And he said, "Well, why wouldn't you do that for us?" And I said, "Because we don't have distributors in this company." He said, "Starting today, we do. Today, John, you are our first distributor." I found that really exciting and interesting. And away I went. Do you know, we went to a little place called Belleville, Ontario, just in eastern Ontario. Kind of a snow-belt area, beautiful area, wonderful area. And we moved in there. Someone dropped us off on our very first day at the Algen Motel. That's where we were going to stay. I had a few dollars in my pocket for food, but not very much to get us by for at least a few weeks. And something interesting happened. That day, I was out walking the streets trying to find from a car dealer if they would lease me a new car to get our business started, because I was approved by the company for the area, the territory. But now we run into a snag here. Who's going to lease a car to somebody who just moved into a motel as far as their residence was concerned? I'll never forget the last car dealership that I walked into was Trudeau Motors in Belleville. We'll never forget this. The man that I met there, his name was Jamie Trudeau. He was locking up the store, and I told him why I was there. He said, "Come by on Monday." I said, "No, sir, I need a car tonight." We walked in, and to make a long story short, he said, "Let me understand this. You want me to lease you a car?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "You're living in a motel. You have no residence yet." And I said, "That's right, sir." Now, as the conversation continued, he said, "Tell me, what car would you really want?" And I pointed to this little Vega green hatchback that was in the showroom of the car dealership. And he said, "Which one would you take?" And I said, "Yes, that one there." And he said, "If you had asked for any other car, I would have said no." Do you know, I get in that car that night, and even though it was a stormy winter night in January the 16th to be exact, what was most interesting is I thought it was a nice, beautiful summer day. I was so excited. And I got down to, the little motel we were in, where Maureen was there with my son Bobby, who at that time was, I believe he was maybe 8 years old. And he wasn't very well, and we were using a hot plate. That's how we were cooking. And I did some kind of spins with that car as I pulled into the parking lot. I was so excited. Maureen opened the door. I was blowing the horn. She come running out. It was like a big celebration. Do you know, that week continued, where I went first to the person who had our furniture, which was a big moving company. And guess what? They decided to move me into my home, even though we didn't have one yet. I went to on Sydney Street, I went to a place that had beautiful apartments for rent. I told the man I could only give him 1 month. He said, "I need 2. And finally he said, "I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'll let you move in. I'll take your word for it that you'll pay me." I went down to the lakeshore at that time, highway number 2. We were looking for a business location, and I found one. Beside that business location, there was a little restaurant. Garney was his name, and I talked to him about our business and how I was waiting for the gentleman who owned the plaza to talk to him about giving me space, but he'd have to give me a little time to pay. He said he will never do that. He said he is the meanest person you will ever meet. You know, I met that man, and in 15 minutes he was able to give me and put together a deal for me to move into that plaza. The important thing was this: why did these people say yes? Why did everything just seem to operate the way that it did? Why was it that very first week, the first sale I made was two big, huge copiers in the mayor's office in that location? I'll tell you why. For some reason or other, and I didn't quite understand it at that time, but within me, there was something that just refused to accept anything. I refused to accept any kind of failure. The only thing that was operating in my mind is the love that I had and the love Maureen had, where we were doing something together that was going to make a huge difference. And we did. Do you know, that was the beginning of understanding something about that once you make a decision, once you make up your mind to make what is called a change. You see, change is very scary. It really is. But let me tell you something scarier. It's called regret. That was the beginning of a life that I'll always envy, because it's the one life that gave me everything else that I really want. And we started off on a very positive track, and within 3 years, we were the #1 distributor and leader in the entire world. Things really changed. But you know what changed more than that? It was us. It was something inside of me that actually changed. And I share this story with you because if we're going to grow and develop the life that we want, we have to learn to change. And how much we change is not near as important as the fact that we do change. I'm going to suggest something to you. What I just shared with you, plus add another 30-some years to that, is when I became a top performer. That I understand now how to help another individual move from point A to point B, wherever it is they want to go, whatever point A and B is in their life. I want you to stay tuned now and follow on our 3-minute video, because what we're going to be doing now each and every week is we're going to be presenting an opportunity for people on how they can become a part of the top performer, how you too can become a top performer in any single area of your life. So remember this word on change. If you're going to grow, you must change. Little change, little growth. But please understand how much you change is not near as important as the fact that you do change. So watch for some of our ads. Watch for some of our words with regard to you getting into the top performer program that'll lead you and yours to everything you've ever wanted. This is John Kanary. Think about this today.